Okay, section 2. Southwest Asia, history of Arabia and Iraq. This region where Arabia and Iraq was one of the places where civilization first began. What is a civilization? Anybody? Let's see. Hello? We listening but paying attention? A civilization is a culture that has a written language and in which people have many different kinds of jobs. Arabia was the birthplace of what major religion? If you picked Islam, you are correct. In modern times, which modern times is today, Arabia and Iraq became the world's most important source of oil, a fuel that every country in the world needs. Now let's move on to page 445. Early civilizations and empires. Mesopotamia means between what? Between the rivers in Greek. It refers to the valley of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which means this area is probably very fertile, good for farming. In Mesopotamia, people developed a new way of life. For thousands of years, people hunted, fished, and gathered wild plants. As the way of life changed, these people started to plant crops and raise animals. These farmers produced plenty of food for everyone. Some people were now free to do other work. They became potters and weavers. Now, by around what BC did the first cities appear? 4000 BC. Very good. Okay, now, the Sumerians developed a civilization around 3000 BC. They created the world's first writing system, which is called cuneiform. They built irrigation canals, invented math. So, they invented math, so we can thank them that math, we have math in our life, or you can go tell your math teachers, hey, did you know who invented math? The Sumerians. See what they think about that. Okay, now, the empires here. Babylon built an empire that included all of Mesopotamia. So now, if we look here at our map on page 445, which was the closest to the Persian Gulf? What empire? The Sumer Empire or the Assyrian Empire? If you picked Sumer, you are correct. Which spread into the largest empire? The Assyrian or the Sumer? If you picked Assyrian, you are correct. Now, let's move on to page 446 here. The Babylonians added to our knowledge of math and astronomy. What is astronomy? The study of the stars and the planets. Now, moving on to page 446 here. One important oasis was the city of Mecca. It was a trading and religious center. Many people here worshipped more than one god. A man named Muhammad made Mecca a center for the new religion of Islam. Its believers are called Muslims. Like Jews and Christians, Muslims worship only one God. What is the term for worshiping one God? Monotheism? Very good. Now, we're going to see here the birth of Islam and how it's a little bit different. Muhammad was born in Mecca. One day he was meditating in a cave. There Muslims believe he saw the angel Gabriel, who brought him a message from God. Muhammad later received more messages. Muhammad shared these messages with the people of Mecca. Some people began to follow the ideas Muhammad spread. They believed that Muhammad was bringing messages from God recognized by Jews and Christians. These messages were collected and preserved in the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam. The wealthy people of Mecca wanted visitors to keep coming to Kaaba. They knew that most of these visitors worshipped many gods. They opposed Muhammad's teaching. Muhammad and his followers had to leave Mecca. Why did they have to leave? Because many of the visitors that came to this area worshipped more than one God, where Muhammad worshipped one God. So now, we're going to see how Islam is kind of split here. Muhammad had chosen his son-in-law Ali and his heirs as his leaders. This group became known as the Shia. The other group of Muslims was known as the Sunnis, which wanted Muhammad's father-in-law Abu Bakr as the next leader. So you have two different groups of Muslims. You have the Sunni that believed or that wanted who to take over for Muhammad, his father-in-law. Then you have the Shia that wanted his son-in-law to take over. All right, now, the word Islam means submission in Arabic. This term comes from the idea of submitting one's will to God. Now, let's ask a question here. Why did the Sunni and the Shia Muslims split? Sunni and Shia Muslims split over different views of who should succeed Muhammad, who should be the next leader. So, let's wrap this up here on section 2 and ask this question. Which civilization first developed writing? The Sumer first developed writing. Okay, so let's end it here, and next time we'll continue here on Southwest Asia, Section 2. Thanks for joining me.